Welcome back to the Vegans Who Lift podcast. We are your favorite host, John Thomas, the Bodybuilding Vegan, and I am Brooke, Miss Meatless Muscle. And today we're going to be telling you guys all about online coaching versus in-person coaching.
Ooh. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. I don't think that I have. You have a good voice, Brooke.
Really? Do I?
I'm going to go out and say it. I'm just sitting here listening to you, and I'm like, Brooke was kind enough to bring us on this time. I'm just like, damn, if I didn't know us, I would enjoy listening to us. So I'm going to just throw it out there. Why not? It's kind of like a compliment. I don't know if
Definitely.
all right. I try not to give compliments. Like, I don't know if your hair looks good. I may or may not say anything, but like, it's so subjective. I guess it's subjective whether or not a voice sounds nice, but like, I don't know. I can't sing. I don't got a singing voice. It's not like a dock on me. It's not something bad. It's just the truth. I don't know if you sing or not, but you have a nice voice. So I'm gonna just say it. But
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool if I was like a radio show host or something.
Yeah. If you sounded like this, then we probably wouldn't have a great podcast. For all you wondering, I am totally sober right now. I'm just a little fucked up in the head. That's just how I operate. I was Alex and I are going to post a cream of rice video that we just filmed a little bit ago. And it's like 11 in the morning. I'm screaming in the kitchen, yelling, talking about don't kill animals and use whey protein because we don't like to kill baby cows and kill their moms. And like, I'm just like ripping off and then like making faces. And I'm like, dude, I have this much fun sober. Like drugs are next level, but I'm pretty good sober. Anyways, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't need much to have fun.
If you're a little bit crazy.
People take life too seriously. Honestly, you just gotta have fun.
Well, part of the reason it took me so long to get back here, and to get back here, yes, this is the second episode we filmed today. I don't know if I'm giving away all the secrets or not, but I'm like staring in my closet. I'm like, what am I gonna wear? I don't know what to wear to the second episode so that it looks like we didn't just do 2 episodes back to back, but now I'm putting it out there. I don't even know why I changed the shirt if I'm going to put it out there, but I'm too honest, maybe. I don't know.
Now everyone knows. Oh my God.
Now everyone knows.
We're a fraud.
Hey, sometimes it was hard for the whole first season, at least. We did every single week of making sure all of our tech setup is done and making sure everybody's schedules are coordinated. Just made a lot of sense to do these every other week, but
yes, definitely, it's much easier.
And but we actually filmed yesterday too, so it's like we're just all over the place. It's anybody that's doing well, they might look like they're put together, but they're all over the place. Like Sean, that man on the outside, he looks put together. He is all over the place. He's like in 15 different places at once. Even his phone's in the wrong bag for the last half hour. But anyways, I'm not ragging on you, Sean. It's because you're achieving so much that you're all over the place. All right, none of that has anything to do with coaching.
Actually, I was going to add something from my coach. My coach, I remember him saying something along the lines of the person that you look up to, that you think has it all figured out and has their shit together, they don't. And they have somebody that they look up to that they think has their shit together. And that's so true. And I always think that about my coach. I'm like, God, he has his shit together. Like he is on top of it. Like he's got a great business. And he's like, yeah, but there's more to it than you think. So... Speaking of coach, I have an online coach.
I have multiple coaches, actually. I just want to get that was such a great hook. I know I hate to do this, but I got to put this out there. Sorry, I am all over the place. Like I look up to my mom and I'm like, she's got it together. But then I sit down and have conversations with her. I'm like, well, Mom, you had all this figured out, and she's like, I had no clue what the fuck I was doing with you. There was no book about being a mother for the first child or even the second or the third. I still don't know what I'm doing. And my mom's in her 60s and she's like, I make it up as I go. And I'm like, fuck, there is never a figuring it out. Even when I'm in my 60s or 70s, it's still going to just be, try this and see if it works. But okay, I just want to throw that out there because I think there is kind of that, as a parent, there's that pressure to have all this shit figured out, but nobody's got this shit figured out. Except for coaching.
I'm curious. I'm curious. Have you ever had an in-person coach?
For bodybuilding?
Well, I guess just, for training. Have you had like an in-person trainer?
I'm going to answer that question a few ways. I've had therapists in person, and I do kind of consider, like, it might sound silly, but it's not silly to me. I view therapy as a form of coaching. Like, your therapist isn't there just to like make you feel good or listen to you and not give you advice that you can work on. Like, a therapist's job, in my opinion, is to coach you to have the best life that you can, usually from like a mental standpoint. Maybe instead of telling you what to eat, they say like, well, what did you go through in your childhood, or what bullying or triggers did you have that causes you to go eat the whole bag of Oreos? I'm not going to tell you to not eat Oreos, just why are you doing it? So I've had a good bit of therapy, relationship coaching, or relationship counseling, whatever you want to call it. And then I have had in-person trainers. Yes. Now, many of those were very unprofessional, not unprofessional, like they did anything wrong, but just like, I find the biggest guy in the gym, hey, can I work out with you? That was like the first decade of me in the gym. Like, find a 250, 270 pound bodybuilder, somebody double my size, like, hey, can I train with you? Because I want to learn what you do. And funny enough, even those guys often don't know everything. And then I have had, at 15, I had an in-person nutritionist because my dad was convinced creatine was going to kill me. Turns out I'm still here. Almost 15 years of like daily creatine use. Kidneys are just fine. And then in-person posing coach. However, our first sessions were online. So I have done some stuff in person, but I've never had a prep coach that was in person. I know you have. So it's good that we're not just the John podcast. We also have Brooke on here to give her side. So who've you worked with online or in person? And then we can kind of ping pong that.
Yeah. Really, I would say officially I've only had one. Well, I would say maybe two. I would say, well, no, I'll say one. Like, kind of standard, like you have a goal and you hire somebody and you meet them at the gym and they train with you for an hour. Like, I've only had one in-person coach, and yeah, it wasn't really what it was all cracked up to be. And I mean, there were times when I was first getting started, and Planet Fitness, that's where I went, and they had the trainers there, and you could pay like a little extra something and then get a training session. So I did that a few times and worked with the trainers at Planet Fitness, which was okay. It at least helped me learn the machines and learn my form when I was working my way around. But mostly everything I did was self-taught. And then I would really say my only other experience, it really wasn't like I hired someone to train me. I was actually working at a gym and I was a trainer there, but I had this boss who was extremely, she's just a micromanager, and she just absolutely had to control everyone. So it was me, her son was another trainer there, and there was another guy who was a trainer there. And so she did all of our diets. She did all of our workouts. Like, she was our coach, basically trying to keep all of us like in shape and looking good and stuff. And so she did train me. She taught me a lot. It was more so like, I don't know, not like your traditional person who's just going to go hire a trainer though. But I did learn a lot from that job. It was just, she was a lot. But yeah, so then all of my other experiences have been online, and I've had 4 online coaches up until this point.
Wow. Okay, cool. So we got, besides the fact that we're both online coaches for almost a decade combined, we got some experiences to pull from. I've been working out like 16 years now. So I've been in a gym setting for more than half my life. That is interesting. I crossed the half my life for vegan point, and now I've crossed the half my life for gym. I'll never not be vegan, but if I give up the gym, that's like giving up half of my identity. I don't know. I worked with kind of an online coach for like a couple months, like emailing back and forth, but it wasn't really I didn't know what an online coach was. I thought we could talk once a week on email, and that was it. And then I hired my first coach to get me ready for a show, because I was self-coached for my first bodybuilding show, which led to eating disorders, hormonal deficiencies, and all sorts of not fun stuff. So I don't recommend doing a show your own if you don't know exactly what you're doing. He was good. I learned a lot about being a coach from him, and how to be a good person and how to care for my clients. But he wasn't the best bodybuilding coach. So I ended up switching over to my current coach, Justin Jacoby, very high level prep coach. He treats us all like Olympians. So I talked to some other athletes and they're like, this shit's too hard. I'm like, well, you're working with somebody that puts people on the best stage in the world. It's not going to be easy. And it's even not easy where he's whipped me back in line like the past couple months because I was just letting myself slip. I'd go to these events and eat whatever I want. And he's like, I'm disappointed in you. You're not doing what you told me you wanted to do. And I'm like, shit, he's not being mean to me. He's just reminding me that I came to him with a goal and I'm not putting in the work for that goal. So I've had to kind of flip again. But anyway, sorry, getting really long-winded. But he's been a very, very good prep coach. And I've trained with him twice in person over 2.5 years. Everything we've done has been online. I know a lot of people are hesitant to hire an online coach, and this isn't a spiel for you to get an online coach. And I'll go into that in a minute. I'll surprise a lot of people, but I've gotten the most out of my coaching experience from being online, and I've helped way more people online than in person. Yeah. Have you ever had that desire to have that in-person coach? Like, I know some people will find like the bodybuilding coach at their gym and go work with them. But I don't know. I never felt like I needed to for me.
When I first started competing, that's when I kind of felt like maybe I need someone in person because I don't know if I'm training like a bodybuilding competitor trains. Like I know I train hard, but it seems like that should be a lot harder. And I also just kind of felt like this person, should be able to see me in person and tell me if I'm ready for my show, which I still did not come in conditioned enough, even though he saw me every single day at the gym. But yeah, so at that point, I felt like, yeah, I really need someone to push me the way that I feel like I need to be pushed. And then after that experience, I realized that I can really push myself and I really need to be pushing myself. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. Like, because I can't have a coach with me all the time. It's just, that's not sustainable. That's not realistic. So I try to tell people that is like, it's a really important skill to learn on your own is how to push yourself in the gym. And now I just prefer training on my own. I probably would never hire an in-person trainer ever again in my life, to be honest. Like I would love to train with my coach because my coach, we have that relationship and he's great and I learn a lot from him and I know his experience level and the kind of people he works with. But I just, I'm pretty confident that I know what I'm doing. And I just like to train by myself. I like to have my headphones on. I like to have my music up, it's like, it's me time. It's me time. That's what that is. It's like my one time during the day that I get to just disconnect from everything. So I'll probably always, do online training because it's what works best for me at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to agree heavily that today I don't have anybody to train with. I didn't ask anybody. That's okay. Like Alex Nearest, my partner in crime now. I brought him on officially with Team Bodybuilding Vegan. He's helping me do everything. He's busy, so he won't be at the gym. I don't have any friends in town. Allie's doing her own thing. So I'm kind of excited for this session because it's like, it's me time. I'll be able to put in my headphones. I might even put on a hat. Fuck it. I haven't worn a hoodie in a long time. I might wear a hoodie just so people don't mess with me. I love when people come up and ask me why I'm vegan or how many sets I got left and want to talk about the vegan thing. But I'll tell you, you're so right. You put in your headphones, you're in another world for 2 hours. And it's kind of nice. It's an escape. It's how I avoid drug use most days is going to the gym. However, yeah. I'm gonna throw out a pretty big disagreement and even maybe a challenge for you. So I moved out of Gainesville to go to Tampa to train at MI40 because this was an elite bodybuilding gym. I'm constantly around people that are better at their current point than I will be the rest of my life. People that are younger than me that have achieved way more on the stage. Up until just a few days ago, the reigning Mr. Olympia was there most days. So I'm around the best of the best. And I had an okay physique a couple of years ago. But if you look at my back from like my shows in 2021 to 2023, or even now, my back has completely changed. And I attribute that to some in-person sessions I got with the head trainer at MI40. I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought I had a pretty good clue, and my coach online was pretty happy with what he was seeing. But there was something about that in-person experience with a really, really high, like this guy works with top 10 people in the world all the time. And it transformed my back training. My back is now one of my stronger points. And I even had somebody on Instagram the other day ask me how I'm doing. I said, I'm not as gung-ho about bodybuilding as much. And this is a competitor. And he's like, well, your back is just transformed. And so I see the value in those in-person sessions. I also don't make enough time for it because I'm so busy with other things, and it's not cheap. It's like, I think he underprices himself, but I'm paying anywhere from $120 to $150 for an hour. But it's transformed my training personally. So here's where I think this comes in. It's not an all or nothing. It's not that you just get an online coach or you just get an in-person coach. You could have both. You're probably going to need an additional posing coach for most people. I'm actually about to, and I'll give more details later, but I've had a certified therapist that runs a gym, reach out to me to do a mental health coaching geared at bodybuilders, geared at competitors. And I told him that he should create a course for people exiting the sport, because I think it's very hard to return to normal life, especially if you've dropped your coach or you didn't have a good show day experience. How do you get back to normalcy? So, anyways, I think there's room for both. I think the biggest limiting factor for most people is location and then cost. So if you live in Alaska, I don't know a single bodybuilding coach in Alaska. Are you still there?
Uh-oh. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Well, I will try to come back. Anyways, I don't know any bodybuilding coaches in Alaska. So,
am
I back?
Yeah, the video is just.
I know it looks like a
super
crappy
blurry.
Webcam. All right, y'all, stand by. I'll keep the audio rolling. We'll see if we can get the video fixed. Anywho,
it's getting better.
Yeah. All right, we might just roll with it. Thank you for those that tune in visually to see my less than pretty face right now. Nobody in Alaska, so you're probably stuck with whatever's there, and that's not great. And then if you happen to live in Tampa, like here, you could train with the best of the best. It's like, do your finances support that? Like an online coach might run you anywhere. I think I would say anywhere from $200 to $600 a month is like a range. You get what you pay for. Usually there's not phenomenal coaches at $200 a month. But if you're paying $150 a training session and you're training in person with somebody twice a week, that can add up. That can add up really quick. So in the best case scenario, if you got all the money in the world, I would get an online coach that handles your diet, handles your training platform, and does your check-ins and things like that, and offers support for getting to the show or just in general, but then also have that in-person thing. But it's not so easy to find a really solid in-person coach in my experience.
No, it's not.
I had to move cities. So.
Oh, yeah, I would have to here as well if I wanted someone really good. I guess I could go move down closer to my coach, but my coach doesn't do in-person training. He only schedules sessions for his athletes. So, at his house, actually. So that's the problem with in-person coaching is you're limited to the skill set of people that are local to you. And so if you're, let's say, we'll take the example that you're vegan. And so I was vegan and I hired my in-person coach, and he assured me that he was familiar with vegan diets. Oh yeah, I have this athlete. She was vegan. I said, sometimes she eats fish, but yeah, she's fine. Like I got her through her show and she does great. And, she placed and did all this stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. So she could do it. I could do it. Well, I talked to her. She did her own diet, but I followed his meal plan for a year. And I do strongly feel like that's why I had so many health issues, was because I was on a meal plan. I was on a meal plan for almost a year. And, nutrition is everything. Nutrition is absolutely everything. So regardless of how much you're beating your body down with cardio and overtraining and all the supplements and all that stuff, like bottom line, if it, like, regardless of what you're doing, if you're not getting the nutrients you need, your body's not going to function properly. So, and then I think that's the problem too, is that a lot of people think trainer means they know all about health, nutrition, and fitness, and that's not true. That's not true. And I think, unfortunately, I get on calls with people and they'll ask me like what certifications I have, and I'm like, it's like disappointing, honestly, because I'm like, if you really only knew what that certification meant and what you have to do to get that certification, like, you wouldn't be so impressed by it. I mean, it's all of these people at Crunch Fitness, Planet Fitness, not saying there's probably some great trainers there, but the majority of them are young kids in college or whatever, and they're just trying to make a few extra bucks, trying to make a living for themselves while they're going to school or whatever. And they just take this certification. And you can take it online. You can cheat. You don't have to be fit. You don't have to know anything. You could take the certification, pass the test, and then you're a trainer. It doesn't mean that you are a nutrition coach or you are a fitness coach. Like so I think the problem is it's like there's this huge discrepancy between skill sets and trainers. And it's like you said, you really get what you pay for. So if you do hire someone for nothing, you pay some $5 membership to an app, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. Or if you pay for some $20 ebook, it's not customized. It's just something that somebody's selling online. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get $20 results. So I think people just have to be realistic about that. And again, yeah, money is a limiting factor for some people. So it's just like, how much can you invest? At least online, I feel like you're getting a little bit more value than an in-person trainer, because I know an in-person trainer, you don't typically get an app. You don't get other workouts. You're just getting the workout you do with them. You're not really getting a lot of nutrition coaching. The check-ins are super limited. So I do feel like online training, you do get more value. So if money is a factor, you're probably going to save money by going online.
You're guaranteed, and you get what you pay for. I'll put it this way. I feel like getting an in-person coach without doing your homework, like if you just show up at a gym, if you're like, hey, I love Vegans Who Lift podcast, I'm going to start lifting. I've never lifted before. I'm just going to go Crunch or Planet Fitness. Somebody there can show me the ropes. I'll just pay them for a few sessions. Yeah, you might be paying the rest of your life. I'm sitting here warming up at Crunch the other day, and I watched this trainer. He seemed like a nice guy. He's probably not a bad person, but he's a bad trainer. He's got his client with 2 plates on each side of the squat rack, doing these horrible looking 2/3 rep squats, coming up on his knees, almost falls forward into the freaking window, and then says, oh no, you got a few more. No safety bars set up in sight and no clips, and there's a plate sliding. I'm just over here anxious that this dude's about to rip his spine or drop plates on himself or get hurt or fall forward face first into the mirror. And I really wanted, when the trainer went to the bathroom, to go up and be like, dude, you're going to get hurt. You shouldn't be doing this. Your trainer doesn't care about you. I don't know why he can't see what I'm seeing. And then I thought about it, I've done that before and it's blown up in my face. People get angry at me. People will be like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. I've been working with him for 6 months. And it's just the trainer's probably not a bad person. It's like me when I worked at a tire shop. Even that's different. You put bad tires on a car, they're going to crash. So I don't know. Like me when I bag your groceries at Publix, if I smush your eggs, well, you know what? You ain't going to die. But in this case, you might get a herniated disc. And it just made me upset because he deserves better. He's paying for a service. Maybe he's not getting fucking Dwayne The Rock Johnson over here to be his hype man, but he should at least be safe. And it just makes me so frustrated. As a coach, as an online coach, I was just a gym rat that cares about other people. Before I was even coaching, I would have maybe said something. So yeah, back to cost. You get what you pay for, and let's not get injuries. Let's not pay for an injury. You can do that for free. I mean,
yeah.
Funny enough, it ties into our last injury episode. But anyways, I think if you had all the money in the world and you're I want to be the best competitor in the world, you would get a really good prep coach. You'd get a really good in-person trainer. You get an in-person posing coach. But you can do most of this stuff online. And my thinking is people will come up to me in Crunch and be like, I'd love for you to train me. I said, well, I'll work with you online. Once you hear my in-person prices, you might not want to work with me. And they're like, what do you mean? What do you charge? I believe most crunch trainers are like 60 to 100 an hour. And I'm very honest. I say it's probably out of your price range unless this is just like something you really, really want to do. But I'm $250 an hour. And most people are like, oh, shit, what? And I think I'm worth it. Not so much that you shouldn't go somewhere and get a decent trainer for $150 an hour or $100 an hour. Like at MI40, you can get for $150 an hour. I charge more than some of the best trainers in the world because what I have to give up for that hour with them in the gym, I could service 4 or 5 people online. And so it's faster if you have all the time in the world, but you got or all the money in the world, but not all the time. Come work with me in person. You'll do 1 set, you'll get 2 cues, you'll do it again, you'll get 2 more, you'll do it again, you get 2 more cues. So in 3 sets, you've learned 6 different ways to perfect that movement. And then I'll push you on the 4th set to the hardest you've ever been pushed in your life. And then you'll learn what intensity is. And in 1 session, you get a ton of value. Anyone that's ever trained with me, like Sean, like I believe would attest to this. However, I'm only one person. I can only be in one gym at a time. I can only show up in between my meals or when I'm not hanging out with my girlfriend or when, if you have a dog, if you're walking your dog, whatever, like it takes so much for me to get there. I have to give up so many other things. And I know this is a long ass monologue. If you work with me online, it might take 4 weeks for me to give you those 2 cues, 1 week, 2 cues the next. It might take you 4 weeks to get what you could get in a day, but we never have to stop. If you go on vacation or if I go on vacation, I'm still checking form. If you live in Japan like this morning, I'm giving her updates. And that's, I think, the beauty of online coaching is I can do that at a much more affordable price rate. I've just upped my rates. I'm in between $300 to $450 a month. Like if you're in that range, that's the same as training with me in person once or twice. You want to come out to Tampa and stay for 4 or 5 days, string a few sessions together for $1,000. We can do that. Or you could do it online and $1,000 will get you a few months. It's again, back to what do you have more of, money or time? Most people, I think, have more time. So,
yeah. I feel like the other thing too, from the flip side, I know for me, when I was an in-person trainer, it's just impossible to make money. It's just impossible. It's like, it's impossible to make a livable income almost as a personal trainer, unless you charge prices like that, but nobody wants to pay that. It's ridiculous. So, and because part of it is you're giving some of your money to the gym that you train at, that you're employed by, because they take a cut. And of course there's taxes and whatnot. But you think about it, if you work 12 hours a day, you have to have 12 clients. That's still not even that much money if you're making $60 an hour. So I don't think people think about it like that. But if you're a trainer and, you're struggling with your income, going online can be a total game changer. There's no way I would make what I make doing in-person training. I just wouldn't have enough time in my day, because it's like you said, I can help, 60 people online in the same day, but there's no way I could do that in person. So it's much more lucrative if you transition online from a business perspective. And not only that, but it also just frees up your time. And that's why people need to charge more if you're doing in-person training, because it's not just about the 1 hour that you're there talking to them and spotting them. Yeah, it's like you said, it's the time that you're driving there, that you're driving home, all the other things that you could have been doing to be making money during that time. You could have had maybe 4 sales calls, but instead you're there training with somebody. So yeah, it's not just about like showing up and training somebody and counting their sets and whatnot. It's all that goes into it. And then not only that, but also the years that you've spent learning how to do this, how to teach someone intensity, how to teach someone, different mechanics of an exercise. Like, it's a lot. It takes time. That's why you go see a doctor for 15 minutes and it's $250 office visit.
We love doctors.
Oh yeah.
You hit some really good points there. Yeah. If this is your career, let me take you, Brooke. Like, let's say you had 10 in-person clients and it's not even an hour. We'll say half an hour. but then somebody's late. Then it pushes your whole schedule back. Then you have to cancel on somebody else. And then at the end of the day, it's still time for you to train. And you've been on your feet for 7.5 hours training other people, being in the gym. I get to the point where I'm like, I don't want to go back to the gym an extra day. Like, people are like, what? It's one day. Come train me. I'm like, I'm already there 5+ days a week. I don't want to go back an extra time just for you. Like, that's why sometimes I'll let my clients pay to come train with me on the day that I'm training the same muscle group. They can jump in, and I charge for that because, not to be an asshole, but I just have a lot of people asking if they can jump in with me. And so it's like, if I got 5 friends asking each week and now you want to take one of their spots, like, there's got to be an exchange of value, especially if I'm going to be training you in between my sets. For scaling purposes, if you want to be a coach, if this is what you want to do for your career, you could be like a celebrity in-person trainer. Maybe you work with a couple celebrities and they pay $1,000 a visit. If you can do that, more power to you. If you can't, I don't know about you, but I'm self-employed. I do know about you. I know you're self-employed, Brooke. I'm just talking to people. If you're self-employed and I want to take a vacation and I'm a personal trainer, I got to put all my clients on pause. If I'm gone 2 weeks, there's people out there that will go find another trainer for 2 weeks and they might not want to come back to you. I mean, maybe that's a testament to how your job is or how you do your coaching, but you risk, even if you're a great coach, that somebody leaves after 2 weeks and gets into a contract with somebody else and you don't make any money while you're gone. Me, every time I'm traveling, I'm still coaching. I don't let my clients go. Maybe I'll take one day, like I kind of took my birthday off. I did have a client, shout out Clarissa for killing it. She was at her show on my birthday, and I was okay with that and still coach her. I was like, we worked all year for this. I'm not taking the day off. But for the most part, my workflow doesn't get impeded by vacation or things like that. Neither does my finances. So, yeah, I think we've hit some really big points. It's really, what do you have, money or time, and what are your ultimate goals? If you're just trying to get a little bit more fit, man, you can work online. Hell yeah. If you're trying to be the best bodybuilder in the world, go hire an in-person trainer and an online coach. Probably move and change cities. You probably are going to have to. If you live in Anchorage, Alaska, I've never known of like a super pro bodybuilder training in Alaska. Like, that's just me. Man, I had another really good point. I just forgot it. Phew. I love it when this happens. I'm like, I got something really good, and then I just dropped it. Well, I will lead into our next announcement coming up. November's coming up. We don't have a hard start for it yet, but Vegans Who Lift Academy round 3.
Oh, yes.
Will be here in November. That wasn't really why we started this episode, but I'll plug away. I'll plug for myself any day, and you as well, of course, Brooke. If you're thinking you already have some functional gym knowledge, or you're already a trainer and you're looking to take your business online and looking to grow and scale it and make it a full-time job, Brooke and I have done that, and that's now what we train other people to do. So reach out to us for some more information. Vegans Who Lift Academy round 3 should start, or class 3, I guess, should start sometime in early November. And that's been awesome. I feel like we've really driven so much value. It's just like regular coaching. Some people sign up and then don't do the homework and don't do the work and they don't get the results. The other people that sign up and put in the work and put in the results, like, yes, they're doing their things. I'm very proud.
Yeah. Excited.
You keep talking. Stall for me to remember this. There is something up here. I'm not going to remember this after the episode.
Well, I guess you were just kind of summarizing, which, so yeah, I think it's like, you got to just make the choice based off what you're really trying to get out of it, your time, and how much disposable income you have to put into this. Because that's all of those factors are going to kind of point you in the right direction. And I think, if you want to be the best of the best, I think having an in-person coach and an online coach is really the way to go. That would be, and not like in person every single time you train, but maybe just train each muscle group with like an expert. Now, not just some random person that you walk in the gym and say, hey, who's a trainer here? Like someone that you do research on and they're really good. They get good results. They know what they're doing, and they're, specified in the craft that you're looking for, whether that's bodybuilding or whatever it is. And, I think that would be the best way to go. If you're short on money, online, 100%.
Yep. I agree. And you are freaking phenomenal. I remembered. So I think real quick, I'll say mine. And if one pops into your mind, me and Brooke are both trying to go work at 2:30. It's 2:25. No, go work out. So we got 5 minutes to nail this. So for me, the hardest part as an online coach that I've found, like, I can drive intensity. I can say you did 12 reps this week, film it again next week and get me 15, and they'll do it. Driving intensity is not that hard. Getting people to eat correctly. If they're motivated, they're going to eat correctly. Being on a diet is not that hard. It's not that hard to put food in your mouth and chew and swallow. It's hard to have perfect form and the hardest intensity in the room. Like I said, we can work on intensity. So for form, that is one area that I have to get creative. I'll speak like Sean. I get to be creative. I had a client that was doing military press on the Smith machine this morning, and it just didn't look quite right. The easiest way I could tell him the right way to do it was to hop off the treadmill, record myself pretending I'm on a Smith machine and showing him the difference between the two. And I'll do that. I've been walking in Walmart, reviewing a video, going to get some beans. And I'm like, that don't look right. And I put my phone up there next to the beans and I start showing them how to do lateral raises. And if that's what I got to do, if I got to go act it out in a store, act it out in the gym, or make a YouTube video, I'll do that. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, if you're not there with me, we can't work through it. But I'm like, I've watched people there with them, showing them the wrong things, almost killing them. We can work through it. And it's okay if we start with our body weight. There's nothing wrong with a body weight squat. Or even I've had people, I'm like, you're fucking this up. Take the weights out of your hand. Show me a side raise with no weights. And they're like, okay. I'm like, all right, great. You got it. We're going to add a 2.5 pound plate next week. And they're like, I'm a 200 pound man. I'm like, yeah, do it. And then we just work up and we get it right. So it can be done. It's just, you got to be creative. And clearly it's worked for you as well, Brooke. You've got more clients than I do. So
yeah, I have my clients send form reviews, and just like you, typically the easiest thing for me is to just record myself doing it. And that almost always, it makes it click for them. And then also just explaining where they need to be feeling it, because a lot of people just don't have that mind muscle connection. So I'll look up one of those old school pictures of the guys doing an exercise, and then the muscle that's being worked is highlighted in red or something, so I'll send them out. I think this is where you should be feeling it. So when they kind of see the anatomy of it, it clicks. And so the video helps too. So I don't know. I think that's really helpful. Because like you, I've seen people in the gym, and almost every time I'm at the gym, I see some trainer training somebody, and I'm like, why aren't they doing that? What the heck? A lot of people do things wrong, even if they're trainers. So, I'll see people just doing crazy stuff, they're going to get injured on. I'm just like, I don't know if somebody who's that, out of shape should be doing box jumps, whatever, but to each their own, so I think you just have to, if you're looking for a coach, just consider all of these factors. And I will say in person, I think would be better for somebody who is recovering from some really crazy injury, like they had some terrible car accident, and now they have to relearn how to lift weights and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that would be definitely invest into an in-person trainer, but somebody who knows what they're doing. Just don't go to Planet Fitness and be who has a certification, give me that person. No, do your research, make sure they know what they're doing. Because I think that can be really helpful. But because I think some concerns I hear are, well, what about my form? You can do that online. So if that's what's holding you back from online coaching, that shouldn't be an issue. And then another good point you made, I've heard people tell me, well, I think I'll be more accountable if I have to meet someone in person. I'm sorry, that's the biggest BS I've ever heard, because you're at the gym with that person for an hour. And then the rest of your day, you can eat whatever you want and do whatever you want. And you don't typically you don't have support from this person. And even if you do, you still have to make the decision when you're in the pantry at 1 a.m. eating Oreos. Are you going to, follow your diet or not? So I don't think that has anything to do with it. And I know when I was an in-person trainer, I had more cancellations than people showing up. So you
Yeah.
will still talk yourself out of it. If that's who you are, you will still find a way to talk yourself out of it. And you'll just end up paying all these fees because you don't show up to your training, honestly. So, I mean, the accountability, that's something that people, they really have to find what works for them and also find that within themselves. And that's something that a coach can help you with.
Yeah. If you're about it, you're about it. You ain't gonna let anything stop you. If being in person versus online stops you, then you're just not about it. Just be honest. You probably shouldn't even sign up with anybody. You're not ready for it yet, and that's okay. Go find your reason why, and then once you find that, then you'll be ready for anything. I'll put it this way: I hit all of my deadlift PRs in my life because I was too scared to send my coach a video of me not trying hard. I didn't want to disappoint him. If he was there, it wouldn't have made a difference. I didn't want to record the video and then suck and then send something that sucked. So I was like, well, he's going to watch this. And I'll do that now. I'll record a set even though I'm not going to post it. I'm like, well, let's pretend if it's really good, I'll post it. And I'm like, fuck, camera's rolling. Better not suck. And like, I get that intensity just because I put some pressure on myself. You want to put pressure? Put yourself on Instagram Live next time you're trying for a PR. You got like 12 little eyes looking at you and you're like, fuck, I better not suck. That's just... And if you are a special snowflake, if you've got a broken back, don't go to Walmart and get a coach. Don't go to Crunch and get a coach. Maybe not even me. Like if you got a broken back, if you're a special snowflake, go get a specialist. Like Adam Brammer. That is the guy that trained me how to train back. And he had broken his back. He was becoming a bodybuilder. He broke his back. Did not touch a weight for 5 years. Could barely get out of bed. He had to rebuild freaking everything in his life, from how he picks up a piece of paper off the floor to how he moves in the gym. And he is the person that taught me how to build my back, somebody that had broken theirs and had to relearn everything. So if you need an expert, if you're a special snowflake, that's okay. Go get your right help that you need. For everybody else, though, you're just trying to get fit and you are accountable, you can kill it online. I got hundreds of people to prove it. So, all right, Brooke, you brought us on. Anything before I take us off?
I think that's it.
That's it. Y'all, this has been a super informative episode. And if you want to help us out, you'll send it to somebody that needs to know the difference between an in-person trainer and an online coach. Coach is the key word there. And I know I don't have as beautiful of a voice as Brooke. So if you want, you can go listen to it again, listen to her to bring us on. And this is it, dude. We're, another episode of Vegans Who Lift podcast, brought to you by your favorite vegan hosts. We are out. We're going to go lift. Take care, y'all.